Welcome back to coverage of YCS Milan 2014. My name is Oliver Gerben and I'm your host for the weekend, and I'm joined here by Rob Grayson-Hooley, our resident expert and OP worker in the UK.
Yep.
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 It might actually be the last round for the day, because we've had some Italian players pointing out to us that, well, it's quite late. They are definitely
Yes.
right on that end. And the last train to Milan, not the last train to Paris, is leaving at 11 something, so they might not be able to catch that last train. So our organizers have been, they were forced to make a tough decision, because either they cut the last round today and move it to tomorrow so the guys from Milan can have a better time, or all the guys that are only here for one day for whatever reason, don't want to stay the night, they might be fresh out of luck. But that's not the story. The story is 1,461 players showed up, making this the second largest YCS in Europe of all time. We have had quite some household names in competition, with Peter Gross, 3-time YCS winner, Alpay Engen, still doing not too bad with he should be on a 5-1 record at this point in time. And we got quite a few other guys that are doing extremely well. One other player, Patrick Rieder, who was tearing through the field in London, going undefeated during the whole Swiss rounds, is currently on the bubble. That means he has lost 2 matches already, and 1 more loss, and he's gone.
Out of the tournament.
So this is where it counts the most. And since we never featured him in London, because we just expected him to make it all the way through the finals, we decided to feature him now. So let's take you to the feature match table, where Patrick, on the left-hand side of the screen, is going up against Benjamin Castel from France.
And both of these players are playing Shaddoll.
Yes.
Now, Patrick has opened with a set Artifact Sanctum and a set Book of Moon.
Yeah, there we go. This is the field of Patrick that Rob just mentioned. And the cards in his hand are a Shadoll Fusion, a Maxi, and a Shadoll Squamator. So let's take a look at Benjamin's hand here.
He's got 2 Wyver Busters, which will help him if either that Squamator or Falco go to the graveyard. He has the Sinister Shadow Games, just to be able to set up any combos that he needs to set up. And he's opening with a Shadoll Fusion.
That's pretty aggressive.
Pretty. He's dropping a Maxi, just to be able to get some draws out of there. Issuing that Maxi challenge. Are you going to let me draw a lot of cards, or are you going to wimp out? Now, that is 1 light and 1 dark. Therefore, that must be a construct.
And Patrick is holding his cards quite in a way that his opponent can almost see the cards in his hand, I think.
Yep. Now, let's just bring up El Shadow Construct there for you all.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen this card even once this weekend,
Yeah,
which is surprising considering how much of an impact it had made both in Madrid and then later this year in London.
Now, interestingly, Squamator's gone to the graveyard there, so Squamator's just putting Shadow Hedgehog in there.
That's a Shadow Beast. And
Shadow Beast's gone to the graveyard, Shadow Beast's gone to hand.
Yep, so these are the cards in Benjamin's hand.
Now, I'm going to be very surprised.
If he follows it up with another special summon.
Well, it's more the fact that Patrick has an Artifact Sanctum set there, so I would be very surprised if he didn't in the end phase, or at least now during this attack.
Yeah, there we go.
Bring out a...
And this is a card that Benjamin is holding on to, a Denko Sekka, one of the new challengers.
And here's the Artifact Sanctum to go and get the Morale Attack. The Morale Attack destroying the construct.
Yep. And we've seen Denko Sekka. I've been talking to quite some players that said that this is a fresh and great addition for the Shaddoll deck, because Shaddoll doesn't really mind if they cannot activate any set cards half the time. Or, well, they only summon it when they are done activating all their set cards. And it's like a cold wave that can really put your opponent under a lot of pressure, those 1,700 attack, and that disruptive effect. So it's back to Patrick after Benjamin added a Sinister Shadow Games to his field. And he did draw into a Mystical Space Typhoon. He doesn't activate it, instead he goes for the Shadoll Fusion. This is definitely the right play if you're expecting a Vanity's Emptiness, for example,
Yes.
which is something that happens quite often.
Now there's the Shadow Winder. essentially saying you're not going to special summon more than once.
Right. This is the other boss monster of the Shadolls. They don't have just one, they got two. Not as formidable an attacker as the Construct. However, this disruptive effect that prevents you from special summoning more than once per turn, it's like a minivan, Seas Emptiness. Without the drawback of not with it leaving the field once another card is sent to your graveyard.
Hedgehog there, sending Beast.
Right, and we checked with the organizers. We're still going to play 8 rounds today because we cannot divert from the schedule too much, which is understandable, of course, because many players came here expecting 8 rounds today. And so either you need to be really fast in your last 2 rounds, or you need to look for other options.
He's playing it safe there, which is interesting because he does have the ability to bring out his own construct as well. There being an El Shadoll fusion in hand. Oh, and he's doing it.
In main.
There is a light morale tech.
That's still in the battle phase, I guess.
Interesting.
With the El Shadoll fusion. And
goes down the construct.
This is the tricky part, that you can do that in the battle phase after you have, well, tested the waters, so to speak. Well, although Mirror Force is not seeing that much play anymore.
Yeah.
But also cards like Dimensional Prison, which are still a thing. And then once you have decided, yes, it is good I'm good to go, you can just follow it up with an El Shadoll fusion and attack one more time during that very same battle phase.
Okay.
Or is that not what's happening? He's still resolving all the effects of the cards that were sent to the graveyard, isn't he?
Looks that way.
Okay.
So, Shadow Fusion in hand, Falco goes to the graveyard and then sets it itself.
And there's the attack.
There's the attack.
So, still in the battle phase, no surprise there. That would be 900 life points remaining for Benjamin. And he's standing on the brink of defeat after just 2 turns for Patrick. What an explosive start from the Austrian.
To say there was such a aggressive start from Benjamin, it's suddenly just turned around.
Yeah. Patrick Rieder really flipped the tables right here. And with a Mystical Space Typhoon, Shadoll Beast in hand, he just added a Book of Moon to his back row, so he does have another very good card that can, well, foil some opposing plan.
Not to mention that I do believe he hasn't actually normal summoned this turn yet either as well.
Yeah, but I don't think he has to now, does he?
Well, he's going
to. There
he's
he
getting
goes.
rid of that to go and get the El Shadoll fusion.
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting plays, because when you're not familiar with how Shadolls are working, especially in the mirror when you're going up against another Shadoll duelist, you would be surprised. Why are you tributing one of your strongest monsters and setting something on the field? And the reason for that is Shadoll Fusion. Shadoll Fusion providing you access to a fusion monster, of course, and it's kind of like it's free when your opponent has a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck.
Now there is that Denko Sekka in Benjamin's hand, so if he was to play this, it would stop a lot of plays happening.
Yeah, so he's facing this field. The Falco and Beast set in the monster card zone, and the remaining cards set in the spell and trap card zone. And Patrick is now taking in everything, taking a very close look at his opponent too. Also, half the time you can guess what options your opponent is holding on to by just looking at them intently. And that's what he's doing. Whereas Benjamin looks like he's a little bit of pain at least.
Yes. And there's Sinister Shadow games.
Yeah, so he basically, it looks like he's going to go with the Denko Sekka play. He first activates his set card, so then he's not affected in a negative way by that card. But what else does he have to do to deal with this field of Patrick, which is 900 life points remaining?
Really thinking this through.
Yeah. What would be your play here?
There is a lot of plays that you could make right now. You want to try and get at least a Falco into the graveyard just to be able to get it back into play.
Yeah, so you have...
It's either that or he's going to try for a dragon,
Yeah.
just to try and pop one of those back row.
But why not activate... Oh, of course not. No, that's not a legal play. So let's take that back. Beast doesn't really do much with him drawing a card. I mean, he's got enough cards in hand, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is crunch time. You might be wondering, why is he thinking a little bit longer about this play? But if he makes a mistake here, it should be over for him.
Okay, and there's the Falco.
Patrick checking his back row. Here it is for you guys one more time. Book of Moon, El Shadoll Fusion, and the Mystical Space Typhoon. Nothing of that is really preventing his opponent from, well, special summoning monsters.
The question is, does he anticipate the fact that Denko Sekka is about to come down, or does it just happen?
If you anticipate the play, what would you do? What's your next move? El Shadoll Fusion. But I don't think that anybody's expecting this here. All right, so again,
looking at that Wyver Buster.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. This is one of the two cards that define the Shaddoll deck as a Chaos Shaddoll.
Denko Sekka comes down.
And now he knows that his opponent will not be able to respond to any more summons, which is very good news. And is he going to follow it up with the White Dragon Wyver Buster?
It's possible. Is that a Shadow Fusion in hand as well?
Yes. He does have a Shadow Fusion. And a lot of monsters. That's normally not a good hit. I remember that Mermaid really didn't mind drawing into lots and lots of monsters.
And it never mattered. They always had effects that would discard them and then activate all of their other effects, just bringing them all out. And so Patrick is waiting patiently, and this turn has been taking quite a while. I mean, we understand, of course, that it's important, but Benjamin needs to be careful here, because if he takes too much time, the judges are going to interfere. And now he did just flip Falco there.
Yep.
Not quite sure if that was in the same turn that it was.
That's what I'm
summoned.
thinking, yeah, because that Falco has been...
It was by the Sinister Shadow games played earlier in the turn.
Yeah.
But it's possible that he played that in his opponent's end phase, so... not too much of an issue.
I'm not sure if he drew earlier or not. So let's just give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah.
And assume he did activate the Sinister Shadow games at the end of his opponent's turn.
Okay, so there's the Shadow Fusion. Or the Shadow Fusion, sorry.
Yep, and now if Patrick would have had the face-up monster special summon from his extra deck, the El Shadoll Construct, the Shadoll Fusion would be free. But as we pointed out, it isn't. So there's another Construct.
Down comes the Construct.
No surprise there. Right, and Benjamin has a lot of action going in this turn.
What I find rather interesting, he really needs to think about what he's doing with that Falco. Because that Falco just has 600 attack, and if he doesn't win this turn, it's going to be attacked over.
Yeah, and that might be more than enough with just 900 life points remaining. 1,500 is not a lot. I mean, he's running Enemy Controller, one of the cards we have been talking about this weekend. Supposedly the big difference maker in the Shaddoll deck, because it can solve quite a few problems that this deck normally has to deal with.
Yes, now Wyver Buster is getting the Black Collapse Serpent.
Yeah, Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, or Dragon Noir Effon Serpent. My French is an insult to French, I guess. All right. So that was the Matthew Bell special move here, butchering some names. These are the cards on the table for Benjamin again. The Falco, which you pointed out, could be a problem, could backfire big time. Can he? He cannot exceed summon it away. So does he have any way to get rid of his own card here? He cannot activate a second Shaddoll fusion, so that's not an option. But he might be attempting to go for game here, which is hard to do when your opponent has a Book of Moon face down.
Okay. Okay, so beast effect.
Yep. If you were wondering what happened to the Falco there, it was flipped and returned itself, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe that's correct.
And interestingly enough, Patrick doesn't mind the L Shaddoll construct face up on the field. Otherwise, he might have attempted to flip it face down with Book of Moon, because he's got another Shaddoll fusion in hand, so he's going to get a free fusion unless Benjamin finds a way to get rid of this monster here. We're still not quite sure how he's going to get rid of his Falco.
At this point, if he really realizes what could be happening there. I mean, as soon as...
I mean, he doesn't have any sort of protection with Denko Sekka, Shaddoll Falco. He cannot normal summon for this turn. He already did so.
Well, he's got 5 zones currently filled as well.
Yes, that is another limitation he has to work on.
He's looking in there. He has already played Shadoll Fusion this turn, correct?
Yes. That's how the construct hit play.
Yeah. Still checking his opponent's graveyard a lot.
Yeah. And and Patrick Rieder is he's in good spirits here. He definitely feels like he's got this.
Okay.
And
Leo.
And Leo.
Leo has been synchro summoned using Falco, because Falco is of course a tuner.
Yeah, I think we forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little late. All right.
Again, that's from the extra deck. Shadow Fusion in Patrick's hand. Maybe he's thinking about...
Although Leo can be a big problem to overcome normally, with its effect that...
Here we go. He's thinking about XC summoning just to get rid of the other threats that he's got there.
What's his target? Does he have any amazing target in here?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
He's looking excited tonight. Castel.
Castel is, of course, a very strong card, and
it's in defense mode.
yeah, and Castel is it's the better version of Silent Honor Arc, is what some of the more experienced players told me, because if you're getting rid of an opponent's Shaddoll monster with Silent Honor Arc, and he gets rid of Arc later on, it will still trigger the effects once it hits the graveyard, which is a big deal when you're going up against Shaddoll. Whereas Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer, returns the card to the deck, and that's of course a lot stronger, denying most of these monsters like Dante or all the Clifford monsters that would otherwise end up face up in the extra deck, denying them the second use that you usually get out of those. So it's Patrick's turn, and he drew into a Shaddoll Hedgehog.
He's got a Shadow Fusion there, which he can use.
Yep, but with a Castel on the field, that's because Castel can also use its effects in the opponent's turn.
Now that's not going to be an issue, because I believe he has a
Book of Moon.
Set.
Yes, he does have the Book of Moon. So this is actually where the Book of Moon could come in handy.
Oh no, he's just immediately Shadow Fusion.
That's very interesting. What is he thinking here? Because he could just simply lose his monster to the Castel, couldn't he?
Are you sure Castel can be done either place turn?
Let's check this again. No, he can't. It's not that good.
No.
Right.
No, that would be completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I should not work in card design. So Castel only on your turn. The other effect is actually also relevant, especially in Shaddoll, where you can flip one face-up monster on the field back to face-down defense position and get a second use out of the effects of all of those Shadoll monsters. So what's Patrick gonna get rid of here? The Leo or the Castel?
Well,
I mean, hopefully both, but how does he do that? With the Shadoll Hedgehog in his hand?
thinking about it.
So again, he's field with the Book of Moon, and
He has a Shadoll Hedgehog in hand.
I think he had a Mystical Space Typhoon that should also be on the field.
He played it, sorry. He destroyed the Shadoll Fusion that's now in the graveyard that was set as a bluff by Benjamin.
Ah, okay. So he's got the L Shadoll Fusion, of course, and the Book of Moon. Interesting.
He's looking at that L Shell Fusion again. It's been sent to the graveyard.
Well, Super Polymerization would be the better card here, wouldn't it?
It would definitely be a good card.
Being able to use your opponent's monsters to perform the fusion ritual summon. Fusion summon, my god. So confused.
What's it? Oh, he's just drawn Black Cluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning there.
That is extremely strong.
He's going to wipe the field this turn.
Wow, everything
what I can
changes with that top deck. Patrick Rieder, wow.
That'll be a construct into the Leo, destroying the Leo and then attacking twice with Black Cluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning.
An extremely big deal here. And we have seen something like that before. Sasha Fabian at YCS London, where he was down to, I think, 1,000 life points, and his opponent was still on 8,000. And then in one turn, he...
Ridiculous. And El Shadoll Fusion back to hand. And there goes the Leo. And El Shadoll Fusion in the battle phase.
Still in the battle phase,
for game.
just like Patrick Rieder did before. Wow, what a comeback. We thought, like, wow, he really needs something now, and he draws into the Black Luster Soldier.
And that's it, he's just won.
Yep.
Especially because he essentially can just go again, let's just get me something else out and attack directly for game.
Yep. And Benjamin Castel knew that this was somewhat lucky, of course. I mean, earlier Patrick Rieder made the most of his options, but Lady Luck was on his side in that situation.
Let's see if we can just see what they're looking to side deck from here.
Yeah, so
Benjamin has actually only picked up one card.
Let's take a look. I mean, Patrick Rieder is running 3 copies of Twister in his side deck. That's mostly again Vanity's Emptiness, if that card is too much of a problem. It's also got 3 copies of Chain Disappearance, which is a card working, putting in some serious work against Burning Abyss, of course.
Yes.
Not so much against Shadoll.
Not necessarily.
Now
there is, I believe, only one card that it can activate against, which would be Falco.
Yeah. He does have Different Dimension Ground, which is extremely good against Satella Knights, and also against the Burning Abyss again, because you deny them their Exceed summons, or at least the one Exceed summon that they wanted to. But I think that the Mischief of the Yokai might be the better choice.
Yes.
That we have seen from Peter Gross, because you can actually get 2 activations out of it. But Patrick Rieder, he's just going over his side deck. Raigeki got introduced. No, staying in the side deck.
He's thinking about it.
He's thinking about it, yeah.
He's also thinking about Thunder King Ryo.
Thunder King Ryo, yep. And there's a Mirror Force leaving his main deck. He's got Max C as well in the main deck. And now he's got Max C in the main deck. I think these are the lower pile are the new cards that he's going to introduce into his deck. I think at least. Nope. It's just one card.
Really thinking this over, really taking the time that he's got to, and I think, how can I stop that massive field from almost destroying me?
Yep. So it appears like there's not that much siding action going on, at least on Patrick Rieder's side of the field.
I think he's actually only sided one card.
Yeah.
By the look of it, which I believe also Benjamin did.
Yep. So both of these players think that the experience can carry them through the matches against other players that are relying on the very same deck. I would guess that Patrick Rieder is slightly favored in that case. And now both of them shuffling. Very interesting shuffling way of shuffling by Patrick Rieder here. But I think that this is a proper way to randomize your deck.
Definitely.
Yeah. And this is also another interesting and important thing that I don't see a lot when I'm looking over the tables at the last half of the venue, so to speak. Players that are not that experienced, they don't shuffle as much.
No.
And then sometimes they complain about their hands in the second and in the third game, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, guys, it's kind of your own fault for not shuffling your deck.
Well, people that have seen myself on the stream before will know exactly how I feel about shuffling. 7 piles is the magic piles, which Patrick did actually use. You can tell a lot from the way that people shuffle. As you just said, not a lot of people in the bottom tables do randomize their deck properly.
Yep.
And there goes the Mathematician.
Mathematician, the opening play for Benjamin Castel. There was a short while where people were debating whether to go with Mathematician or with Armageddon Knight. Both monsters had something going for them.
Mathematician gives you a draw when it's destroyed, though.
Yep. It's also a light monster, which is relevant for Blackluster Soldier, a card that we've just seen.
It's an Earth monster, I do believe, which is fine, because that means
right.
that you're easier to get out Shekanaga if you're running it. Now, that was a standard Squamata into Falco play.
Right. It was the other way around, that Armageddon Knight is somewhat relevant because it's dark, and this is a material for Blackluster Soldier, if you really need one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think that's the real argument here. And let's take a look at the field of Benjamin. 2 copies of Sinister Shadow Games.
And an Shadoll Fusion.
Shadoll Fusion.
Now, what's...
Do you set 2 copies of Shadow Games?
You can do.
So this was Patrick Rieder's hand. It's just a Moraltach and a Mind Control remaining there. He's got a set of Moraltach, Artifact Sanctum. It's really bad news for him because he's already gone through 2 copies of Moraltach now.
Yeah.
Only one good target left in his deck for the Sanctum, and he wants to activate it as early as possible, I think, because he cannot risk drawing into the Moraltach. Now, does he have any other artifacts in his deck? It does not appear that way, judging from the deck list.
No, it is just Moraltach. You don't really play any other.
Yep.
Any of the other ones.
And he's got 3 copies of Sanctum, so that means that 2 cards in his deck are not going to do anything if he would draw into them now.
Well, it depends whether Benjamin would try to destroy it, of course, as well, because it does have the secondary effect that if it's destroyed, you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters. Now, I think he's just waiting for the fusion to happen, because he's got 2 outs to that.
All right, so this time it's Benjamin who has the Blackluster Soldier, the trump card.
So Shadow Games gets a Hedgehog.
And he also's got Denko Seka in his hand still.
There's the Shadoll Fusion.
Yep. Still during his opponent's turn. And
he's actually dumping the Blackluster Soldier for a construct.
That is very surprising.
It's brave.
Yeah. But does he... Maybe he expects that Patrick will not have a way to defend himself for that incoming damage, and there's already quite a bit on the field. But is that going to be enough? Is that, like you said, brave? Is it too brave?
So Bookmoon's just been destroyed. Benjamin does have mind control in hand as well, but as does Patrick Rieder, I believe.
Yes, he does. He does have the Moraltag, second copy, and the mind control in his hand. And against artifacts, you really don't want to destroy the back row cards. You don't want to risk running into hitting a Moraltag or hitting the Sanctum.
And there's the Denkoseka.
Yep. So shutting down Patrick's complete back row. And
that's it.
That's it, yeah.
There's nothing there that he can do.
So the brave move got him the ultimate reward. Yeah.
It's interesting that Patrick didn't activate his Artifact Sanctum a bit earlier, just to try and knock down the construct straight away.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that his opponent plays Denkoseka.
He did see it in the first game, yes. So maybe that was a little bit too careful, his approach here, or too reluctant. Both are asking for the time now and checking with the judge. And I'm not quite sure, but I don't think there's that much time remaining.
No, there won't be a massive map, but we did start a bit late, as we do.
As we tend to do, yeah. In case you guys want to make the most of the little bit of extra time that we have in between rounds or in between games right now, you can check out the written coverage of the event where we have all of those stats that are sometimes running through at the bottom half of the screen, like the country breakdown and the deck breakdown, and of course the standings, together with some deck features and quick questions and all that fun stuff. So there's plenty to see there. Also, we encourage you to interact with us and cast your vote. Who you think is going to win? It appears like the majority of you, and I think that's a very small majority, thinks that Benjamin is going to win this match against Patrick.
33 to 66. There's a 5-pile shuffle.
And who's favorite in that situation? When you win the first game and your opponent wins the second one, is it always like, okay, now they are on a roll, that they are like, okay, I'm going to turn this around now?
Well,
are you going to be like, okay, this happens, I can still win this?
I get the feeling that a lot of the better players don't think that game 2 necessarily matters. I've seen people immediately throw game 2 just so that they can go first on game 3.
Interesting. So they don't mind losing that
No.
game at all?
No. Game 1 is important. Well, to be honest with you, you can lose one game and still win the match.
All right, so this is the last and deciding duel here in round 7 of YCS Milan.
Bookmoon, Shadoll Fusion, Artifact Sanctum, Falco, and an Shaddoll Fusion there in Patrick Rieder's hand. And I can see a Denkoseka just sat on top of Benjamin's hand there, just waiting for it to come through on our app.
Yep, just a second. And Patrick goes first. There we go. This is his hand, or was his hand.
He set a Shaddoll
Sanctum,
Fusion,
the Book of Moon. Yep, no surprises there. He's left with the Fusion and the Falco in hand. So Book of Moon, Sanctum, Shaddoll Fusion.
And there goes a Denkoseka.
Denkoseka. And again, the Artifact Sanctum, a dead card, and he has to take first blood from Denkoseka, attacking for 1,700.
This is not looking good.
No, and the interesting thing is Benjamin doesn't have to do anything else. He just plays a Denkoseka and he attacks, passes play. And Patrick is
on it.
Yeah, he's under a spell, really.
Now, Foolish Burial sends the Hedgehog. Hedgehog is going to get something incredibly useful. Doesn't really matter what, because it's probably going to turn into an Shaddoll Winder.
And that could attack over Denkoseka. Well, it's going to cost Patrick Rieder. He's not.
Oh, no, he's just going to pay Squamata and attack over it. Oh, no, that's a... Is that a Squamata or a Dragon? Sorry. It's a Squamata.
Yeah, he did search for the...
Sometimes you almost forget that Shadoll cards have attacks.
Yeah, they're definitely not the strongest contenders. But 1-8 is enough to deal with Denko Seka. And this is the situation where an Honest would have been amazing.
Yeah. Now, there's 2 Mathematician, a Falco, a Beast.
3 Mathematicians.
3 Mathematicians.
In fact, yeah. So Benjamin can easily load his graveyard with tools and options.
Now, the question is... Well, there's the Squamata. Squamata allowing him to drop Beast, and Beast then drawing him a card. Now, I believe that is 1 light and 1 dark. Well, a couple of darks in his graveyard there. So Blackluster Soldier is an option for him now.
Yep. But now he's not going to be too happy that Denko Seka is already gone. Did he have... Why not start with a Mathematician instead of Denko Seka and save it for later?
He is sitting... I think he just wanted to get the poke, basically. It did feel that way.
Although most of the experienced players say life points really don't matter.
I think that it's basically understood from the last 2 games that if Denko Seka hits the field, that it puts Patrick in such a bad position.
So he just was expecting to ride that wave all the way to victory.
Pretty much.
Cold wave on Lex. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
And now Benjamin has to think, and what is his decision-making process here? What's he thinking about? Whether to drop Blackluster Soldier?
That's basically the only thing he can do with that hand.
So...
Because he's just normal summoned that Mathematician.
Yep. And with the Artifact Sanctum in the back row, Patrick is well prepared for that.
Yep. Artifact Sanctum, Booker-Moon, Shaddoll Fusion.
So I think Patrick will be able to deal a little bit of damage. With Benjamin having so many monsters in his hand, no protection whatsoever.
Really thinking about that. Oh, he's doing it.
Yep, there we go.
There it goes.
Blackluster Soldier.
And is he going to take any chances, is the question.
I don't think so.
No, Artifact Sanctum straight
Artifact
away.
Sanctum. Why?
No, not letting him get that effect off at all.
Yeah, that's really no question, is it?
Out comes the Morale Attack. And yeah, he doesn't even ask what the target is.
Yeah.
He just picks up that Blackluster Soldier.
And is there a way that Patrick can put enough damage on board in the following turn now?
No, almost, actually. He's got the Shaddoll Fusion.
He's missing a second. Well, he can go for a fusion, but he would need to use the Morata on the field, for example. I mean, of course, he doesn't know that Benjamin is not holding on to anything here.
Well, he has just passed the turn. So I think he's just trying to decide whether he can do that. Patrick hasn't drawn for his turn yet, from what I can see as well.
Yep. He's thinking about whether he wants to do something.
He's doing it in the end phase, by the
yep.
way.
Well, why would you do it in the end phase? And
just in case you were to, let's say, draw another Shaddoll Fusion, you will be able to use the 2 of them, basically.
Right. That's a pretty good reason. And very observant of Patrick Rieder as well. To making sure, not just like drawing, being excited, which is also something.
Okay, he's going for the Winder. He will be able to get the Winder and the Construct. Now, Falco's effect. And Squamata allowing him to drop something into his graveyard. I believe it looks like he's dropping a Hedgehog.
Yep.
Hedgehog allowing him to put something back into his hand.
Thinning out his deck so quickly.
Setting Falco due to Falco's effect. And then Hedgehog resolves, allowing him to put... I think he's trying to put a Beast into his hand there.
And you can tell he's just setting up his following turn with the Shadoll Fusion here. And this is going to be definitely quite a bit of damage.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, and Benjamin will be sitting there and he's like, I don't want to see anything after that.
Okay, he's not going for Beast. Really thinking this over.
Maybe he identified a different play that would be even stronger here.
Yes, because he really needs to think about what effect's going to happen when he uses it for his fusion. Remembering that Falco can still come and set a monster from his graveyard as well.
Okay, so he has made his decision. Or not. Or maybe he did.
Now, you can't see from the angle that you're at the moment, but I can see Benjamin's face from here. And it's a mixture of confusion, curiosity, yeah. just a grin. I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah, it's like, am I dead? Am I dead? Yeah, this is when you're playing against somebody who's a lot more experienced than you, which happens to me quite a lot. And you're always like, am I dead?
Have I lost yet?
Yeah, and well, Patrick Rieder is asking the very same question here.
Okay, so Book of Moon flipping face down. The Winder.
So he is no longer under her spell, and he can perform as many special summons as he wants. And
okay, that was a synchro summon for Michael.
The Arc Light Sworn.
Yep, that's going to allow him to remove that Mathematician straight from play.
Yeah, Michael is also one of these cards that we don't see that often, but whenever it hits play, it has quite the impact.
Now, so I believe time has just been called. Although we actually had our own counter made up. He has his own counter with him. Okay, so there's the construct that he's using an Shaddoll fusion for, using his own Winder. And the Morale Tack from his hand.
Yeah, the card he drew into. He's still got Shell Beast in hand.
Now, can you quite remember what it is that he's got set there?
That's interesting. Is that a Moral Tach as well? No.
Didn't think it would be the Morale Tech. It's just not quite updated.
Yeah, so we're...
Oh, it was the Hedgehog.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we're getting there. And Michael, with Patrick paying 1,000 life points for the effect.
And there's Blackluster Soldier again.
Where did that
basically
come
winning
from?
the game.
Where did that come from?
He drew it from the Beast. Yeah, he's just shaking hand. No, that's...
Wow. 2 times, not quite in a row, but all 3 games almost being decided by Blackluster Soldier here.
It's basically one of the defining cards of Shadoll.
Of the Chaos version as well, yeah.
Yeah.
We have some players who are...
That's the Artifact version. That's the Artifact version playing against the Chaos version. And both of them are playing Blackluster
Soldier, yeah. But some players send in their decklist, they're like, hey, you should take a look at this, it's Shadoll without Blackluster Soldier.
Yeah.
That was like the big story for them. They were like, hey, we can play without this card. But if you've seen this feature match, I think you wouldn't have any doubt that Blackluster Soldier is the card.
Why would you play it without it? That's the question. I mean, there's some builds that, well, they have to use light monsters due to construct. So yeah, there is no reason not to play it.
Right. So Patrick Rieder hanging in there, still 2 defeats, but with a 5-2 record, he's all but defeated. He's still very much in competition, and well, maybe that's actually good news for him, that he doesn't go undefeated like in London, where then the curse of Anubis hits, and in the first round of the knockout portion, you just get eliminated by the guy who just locked up a seat as the very last guy out of all the top 32 players. So in case you are wondering and you're from some other remote part of the world, it's almost 10 p.m., which is not that surprising when you have 1,461 players showing up. And it is quite late, of course. We only have 1 more round of competition today. Tomorrow there will be 3 more rounds. And after that we will perform the second cut for the top 32 players. All right. I've just been told that we do have an interview with Patrick Rieder, our winner of this match. So we will take a very quick break, be right back with him, and then ask him how his day is going so far.
Enjoy.
Geargia Rampage! Geargia monsters can build anything! Massive robots! Super tanks! You can get it together with Geargia Rampage! A full 42-card deck! Get your gear on!
Konami.
Yu-Gi-Oh! The new challengers! A new generation battles for supremacy! Fusion, Ritual, Synchro, Xyz, and Pendulum monsters! These new challengers come in every form! 9 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Konami.
Welcome back. We're here with Patrick Rieder.
Hi.
Congratulations
Thanks.
on that one. We said we're going to invite you over to the feature match because we didn't feature you in London when we were like, oh, Patrick, he's going to make it to the finals anyway, just like last year. And then you ended up, well, making it to the finals. We were featuring the bubble match, the top 32, and then you got knocked out in the top 32.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, is it an advantage for you to be on the bubble this weekend?
I guess it's never an advantage to be on a bubble, but yeah, what can I do? I will just continue to play on a bubble and win out.
All right. So you went with Shaddoll this weekend.
Yeah.
Why Shadoll?
First of all, I have no Burning Abyss cards.
Okay.
And second, I didn't play pretty much with the deck, so I had no experience, so I had to play
to go with what works.
Yeah.
You pointed out that the Max C in the main deck, not everybody agrees with you there. Why do you run Max C?
I run Maxi because I think Burning Abyss is the best deck, and I also thought that many players will take Burning Abyss to this tournament, so I wanted to have 3 huge cards against them.
Okay, that's a very good reasoning. In fact, the Burning Abyss is the most popular deck, but only if you take Shadoll Chaos and the Shadoll Artifact as 2 separate decks.
Okay.
If you count them together, they are slightly more popular, or a little bit more popular. 1/3 of the field is Shadoll this weekend. So, yeah, not too bad, I guess. Now, let's talk about your losses. What happened there? Because normally you don't drop any games.
Yeah, it's Clifford. It's like if they have the best start they can have, you can't do anything because they have like 3 floodgates in skill drain. Mine had Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and when it is emptiness, I could overcome the skill drain and the emptiness, but the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror just raped me down.
A little bit too much then.
Yeah.
All right. What about your side deck? You have quite some silver bullets there that can stop opposing decks. What cards have been working best this weekend?
The best this weekend was, of course, the Chain Disappearance. Because if the Burning Abyss player summons his tuner and you Chain Disappearance, it's like you feel so much more confident.
Yep.
Because they can't summon the Virgil. That is the
And that's a little bit like back in Madrid and back in London when Virgil was not a thing yet. When you were going up against the regular Burning Abyss without that new card.
Yeah, it was also good against them because you could take their Gruff away. But right now it's best to take the tuner, second best the Gruff, because after the tuner's gone, you never have to fear that he can overcome your field.
Okay, that's a pretty big play. Would you change anything about your list at this point?
At this point, I would probably play with Solemn Warning because Denko Seka is a thing.
Yeah, we just saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess something should be cut from the main deck, maybe a Maxi again for a Solemn Warning, but I didn't want to run many traps because Denko Sekka is a thing, and also if you don't start, they are very slow.
Yep.
And Burning Abyss has the best trap cards, and you have the trap cards in the normal Shaddoll deck, Sinister Shadow Games, Compulse, Core, and nothing else really good. Shadow Games is very slow, this format. It's too slow in my opinion, because if you start Monster Shadow Games and he goes like, yeah, do all his things.
Yep. You just lost the game before you can gain an advantage out of it.
And if he starts, you're in an even bigger hole.
Okay. It's hard to argue. With Denko Sekka, going back into the second game, where you had 2 Moral Tasks already either set on the field or in your hand, and you have the Artifact Sanctum. Do you think that you should have just preemptively activated the Sanctum on his construct before Denko Sekka comes down?
Yeah, the thing is, if I activated preemptively, I don't think it would have mattered, because he had his El Shaddoll fusion, so he could just make another. And but it would have been better, I guess.
Yeah, but only if you make the read that Denko Sekka is coming down.
Yeah.
All right. You're not playing Denko Sekka, neither in the main nor in the side deck. How come?
That's because I chose to play the better standalone cards in Artifact Sanctum. Like the Chaos Shaddoll deck has many good combos. Against Burning Abyss, they can summon Denko Sekka fusion. That's the best play. They just win then and there. And but if they don't have the fusion for the Denko Sekka play, it's most likely, okay, you have Denko Sekka and now you can't do anything.
Can't really do anything, yeah.
So therefore I chose to play the standalone cards and now Denko Sekka, because then it would interfere with the Artifact Sanctum.
Okay, okay. Well, as we can tell, there's a lot going on here with one card affecting the rest of the deck. If I would be a player not that experienced, what would your suggestion be to play this weekend?